I still haven't figured out if I can sit down yet. I feel like I'm in an airplane, just bringing it in and all this stuff. Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. December 8th, right? I think it is, Josh. December 8th. Josh and Hodge here. Misty will be on her way a little bit later, but we are jamming out here in the Potosi studio from the Mall of Abilene, where you need to get your shopping done for Christmas. Already.
Do shop.
Oh, good one. There you go. He doesn't shop. Does Leanne do all of it?
I guess.
Yeah, something.
I thought it was Santa Claus.
Yeah, good point. My bad. But come see Santa. I'm sure he's down here in the mall somewhere. Not now. He may be mall walking. We may see him in a moment walking, getting those steps in for December 24th. We have a jam-packed show, as always. December, 2 hours worth of great stuff. College football, got it wrong. High school football still rolling. We got big country teams still playing. We got people trying to win 3 state championships. We got 2 trying to win 2. And we're excited today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Josh, we got some umpires in the studio that we're going to talk about, ringing them up. You were an umpire at one time, right?
Yeah, it's a very short career. I'm sure it wasn't the most pleasant I ever found myself in.
Well, and it's everything else. We've had football officials, we've had basketball officials, we've got baseball officials this morning talking about you being able to become a baseball umpire, the benefits of it, the excitement of it, and the need of it. And so we'll talk about that at 7:15. Right.
And I do think I'd like it more now. I'm a little, like I was younger than maybe more intimidated.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I umpired baseball right out of college. I mean, right out of high school, and did it for a little bit. And you're exactly right. Little league parents, all of you need to, probably have your head exam, and there should be a requirement on how long you can stay at a game, or are you qualified to be at a game. And so I didn't do it. I still officiate basketball, but yeah, we'll definitely talk to Matt and Hunter after our Lawrence headline report. At the bottom of the hour, Jeremy Mullins, head football coach of Toller. You're like, Toller Mullins, legendary basketball, legendary Badger, the head coach at Toller, along with his dad as an assistant coach there. Jeremy Mullins will join us on our Pest Patrol phone line at the bottom of the hour. They took care of Stratford last night, 35-7 to head to Jerry World to play for a state championship. We'll dive into our Lawrence headline report, going right to high school football. Westbrook is going back to Jerry World at 13-1 to take on the Gordon Longhorns. We've had Butter, Mike Reed, the head coach there, of course, Homer Matlock. They'll be trying to win a 3rd state championship to get a 3rd state championship monument be put up in Westbrook for the monument to be seen, for the monument love of those monument people, that monuments are important right from the league. Benjamin also wins. They're going to try to win another state championship. They'll be playing Oglesby next week. And then last night, Coach Denny Faith and the Albany Lions win 34-14 to head back to Jerry World to win back state championship for them. And so just a week left and it will be completely done. On a side note, I don't know if you follow Cody Coyle's Big Country Blitz on Facebook. You really should, but he posted, and I think I got this right.
I do follow it, but I don't go to Facebook often.
So Chilton and Mart are playing this week. Chilton don't know what they were thinking. Sent a basketball to the school like to say, get ready to play basketball.
But everybody's going to get ready to play basketball.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody wants to do it this week if you were Mark or Chilton. So I thought that was interesting. I would love to get Cody's thoughts on that. But that's our part of our Lawrence Hall headline report. Thank you, Lawrence Hall. High school football, Albany headed to the state championship again. Westbrook as well, Benjamin, and the Toller Rattlers. Jeremy Mullins will join us at the bottom of the hour. Last night, Josh, and I clicked ESPN, and the football game is the NBA in-season tournament is the score that pops up instead of the NFL Thursday night game.
Is not
it was rough. Bailey Zappi went for 3 touchdowns, 2 to Hunter Henry, and 1 to Zeke. And I have a problem with Grant Cunningham. Josh, as you know, fantasy football league with you. I'm in the other league. There's 2 leagues. We can't get into that.
That's very confusing.
But Evan Harris and I, who've been a guest on the show and co-host with us before, He and I are tied going into the final regular season game. We're playing each other this week. And I went to pick up Zeke because I have that Rondé Stevenson or whatever, the guy for the running back that's hurt. And so I go to pick up like at 3:30 in the morning, 4:30, I wake up on Wednesday to pick up.
It's suddenly like, I've got to.
Well, no, that wasn't the reason. I just probably had to go down the hall. But so I go and I pick up Zeke. And I think because it's Wednesday and it's late enough on the Wednesday, or the Wednesday's there for waiver, but it doesn't. It pops in my pending.
Oh yeah, because I think it is 4 a.m. that it actually processes.
Well, I felt like I was on a trade deadline because I don't think anything of it. And on Wednesday, Zeke is not in my roster or on my roster. I go and look. I'm like, what happened? What happened? Grant, our good buddy Grant, which I hope if he's at lunch today, I'm going to tell him about it, picks him up. Grant's nowhere in the playoff hunt. Picks him up.
He's playing to the end. You can't be upset about that.
Well, no, I understand.
You want everyone to just fold?
No, I don't
He
want
might
that.
be playing somebody that matters if they
That
win.
is true. But here's the thing. He picks up Zeke and doesn't play last night. And Zeke goes for probably the most points he's had since 2009.
I don't mind someone being an obstructionist because
Well, he was.
You gotta
And
play
so
the game.
there's some collusion on it. And so anyway,
I actually wouldn't put it past Evan to tell him to pick him up because
True
he would
story.
be ahead of you on the waiver wire.
yeah, he would. So
Might want to investigate that.
yeah, we
We
are.
can kick him out of the league.
We've got investigations in the college football playoff.
I've got votes on my side if you want to make that happen.
I do. I've got college football playoff investigation because Florida State got hosed. We'll talk about that later. And also Evan colluding to try to not get Zeke. Bottom line is I only got like 4 or 5 points from Pittsburgh's defense because who'd have thought last night that Bailey Zappi would go off for 3 touchdowns. One of those goes to Zeke, 2 to Hunter Henry. And the Patriots win 21-18 last night in Thursday Night Football last night on Prime. Josh, let's continue with our Lawrence O'Halloran report. We've been a little bit away from baseball. We haven't had a chance to talk about baseball, but baseball is heating up. It doesn't get as much love maybe as some other like with it when it comes to free agency period, but it is exciting. And there's not a whole lot of big names right now that are out there except the biggest name. But we'll talk about Ohtani in a moment. But this past week, one, I thought it was weird. I didn't know Boston and New York were trading each other people. But the Boston Red
That
Sox
happen often.
traded, well, we all remember the Bay. But Alex Verdugo, I may have said that wrong.
Verdugo, yes.
Verdugo traded to the Yankees. And then the other trade was Juan Soto, one of the top players in the MLB, is heading to New York. And it looks like the Yankees are trying to load up. Maybe Aaron Boone's hoping we got to load up so we can be competitive. Because here's the deal. The people that are out there, the Rangers, the Astros, aren't going anywhere. And so that was the big news this week with Juan Soto heading to the Yankees.
Yeah, it's obviously big news. It's also just interesting, the Padres, having done all they did, signed a bunch of people, had basically an all-star team for a lineup and couldn't make the playoffs. But Juan Soto is good. Definitely makes the Yankees better. Kind of an awkward fit because outfield was not necessarily a need for them, and now that they're saying Judge is going to play center field, which I think makes him more of an injury risk, which has already occurred several times. So,
and why would you want to do that? Because the other thing I saw that they're probably going to put Carlos Stanton just as a DH, not use him a whole lot in the outfield.
Well, because they have a bunch of terrible outfielders.
But why would you want to?
They can hit, but
why would you want to put your stud in center that has to cover a lot of ground and all that?
Because it's the only way to get Juan Soto in the lineup. I mean, and that is one thing that is
but you can't put Juan Soto in center or left. And
No.
Judge
The thing on Juan Soto is he is a bad outfielder. I mean, just the metrics on his playing in the outfield is just not good. He is a world-class hitter, and that's makes it worth it, I guess. But in the long run, center field where he's more likely to get hurt might not be the best thing, but that's what they decided to do. They make way more money than I do, so they can make that decision.
So in continuing in that, again, it looks like Trout's going to stay, but Ohtani's still not making any decisions, and it's almost like that's the domino that maybe everybody's waiting to see. Do we don't do anything else? Because are we still in the Ohtani hunt?
Exactly, because he will require so much money that if you think you're going to get him, you then have to make the decisions after that. one thing that, and you mentioned this, and I don't know how they could fix it just because of the nature of how it is, and the players probably wouldn't agree to it. But the NHL, the NBA, the NFL have a big, especially the NBA, it becomes like this major thing. This signing window that opens, and there's just a flurry of news that comes out of that window. And in baseball, they don't do that, so it kind of can hold up the market. There's another Japanese player that's coming up. His first name is about 17 syllables, but his last name is Yamamoto, which is still a lot of syllables. But he's supposed to also command a big deal. He's won their Cy Young Award 3 years in a row, their equivalent, whatever it's called in Japan. So it's kind of like Ohtani and Yamamoto are the best two players available in free agency. And until someone signs them, it's kind of like, well, do I want to go after Jordan Montgomery, say, or would I rather have Yamamoto? And you can't do both. So and that's, I think, why it's being held up. And if you're Jordan Montgomery, the Rangers have interest in bringing him back, and I think they're pushing on that. They're not pushing on the higher level people as much as what I've read. But Jordan Montgomery's not going to sign until Yamamoto does, just because that might drive his market up to a team that misses out on Ohtani Yamamoto. That just sounds like one person. It's a lot.
But it's a lot. But the Mets are owner Cohen has been in Japan.
Yes, he went to Japan to try to. So he's got the money to throw around. So
again, so Major League Baseball post off season, everything going on. Of course, waiting to see if the Rangers do anything. And of course, Ohtani is the domino to drop. Finally, and not a whole lot of time to talk about it, but the big news last night was John Rahm, number 3 player in the world, defending Masters champion, making the decision to go and sign with the LIV. He was one of the ones along with Rory and Tiger, and he was part of the Tiger Animation League, whatever. That was really a big stance. I've made enough money. Everything I owe is to the PGA Tour. Not anymore. That may be because of what the PGA Tour and how they joined back in with the LIV. Golf for 2024 is going to be very interesting. But John Rahm now is part of LIV Golf, and he says he's ready to take on the gripe, to take on the criticism and the reputation that may be hurt. But again,
I don't see how reputation, because you mentioned it. He took a
big stance,
and then the principles he was standing on pulled the rug out from under him by basically selling out the people that tried to have principles. So now, I mean, it's really, I don't see staying with the PGA or going with the LIV basically is the same thing as far as the money side of it.
And we'll talk about it later when we get to college football. But it's become the transfer portal for golf, except a whole heck of a lot more money. Hey, I want to remind you, if you got questions when I start talking about college football, how I'm wrong or how I'm exactly right, send us a text at the text line, Pest Patrol text line 972-244-3953. It's also on our Facebook page. When we come back, you can make some money and ring people up. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out. We'll be back right after this.
I love the video you posted, or the GIF you posted yesterday with the what's his name?
From Naked Gun?
Yeah. From Naked Gun.
Yeah. Every time I think about umpires, I think about that. That's like that whole scene.
Yeah, my dad, he thinks that's the funniest part of that movie is when he does the whole baseball umpire.
Yeah, the last season that I umpired, I started when I was in high school and then into the first part of college. But I was umpiring a Little League game.
You can pull that up because of his umpiring. Y'all will share that.
No, I'll step over here. I'll let y'all talk. That way y'all can just both have a mic.
Well, you can pop in and share because I do think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm calling balls and strikes. There's a ball that's hitting to the outfield, and runner on, I don't remember, first or second. Well, he rounds third like he's gonna score. The guy behind him comes to third base. Throw comes in home. He turns around to go back to third. So now we have two runners on third base. which to this day, I don't even really remember. I know I looked it up afterwards what the actual rule was on which one was out, but we got guys standing there with the ball, 2 runners standing on third base, and they're all looking at me like, whoa, like.
And they don't even know who to touch.
Right. So yeah, he tags both of them, and I was like, all right, you're out, And in my mind, it really doesn't matter. There's an out, and there's a runner on third. The kid's dad, who I called out, loses, like, that I got the call wrong.
Yeah.
Where do they go to if they want to sign up for
Abilene Baseball Umpires.org?
So he's like yelling at me from the stands, and I was just like, no, that's enough. Like, this is how we're doing it. 1 out, runner on third base. And he won't take that.
Abilene Baseball Umpires?
He comes through the dugout onto the field,
And umpires.
just like
Plural.
yelling at me.
Yeah.
So I tell him he's ejected from the game, and like the coach is like helping get him off the field, and he walks and goes and gets the league official and comes back, and then get the rule book out, and so I was wrong, and I don't even remember which way it went. So then the league official says he can stay, and I was just like,
No.
I might have got the call wrong, but this guy was completely
Yeah,
inappropriate.
just because you got the call wrong doesn't mean the guy gets to stay.
Yeah. And it was like, that was the last season that I did it. I was just like, the league official's not going to take my side on it, like.
That's the reason why Hunter and I are here.
Like,
Well, welcome back to the Hodge Pack, Sports Life and everything in between. We're rocking and rolling here on the Hodge Pack, and now it's time in our Pest Patrol text line. Be sure you send us a text at 972-244-3953. Again, our Pest Patrol phone line and text line. You can give us a text, what you think we're right, wrong, and we'll get those read on there. But joining us in studio right now, we've got Mark Castleberry from the Abilene Baseball Umpire Association joining us this morning to talk a little bit about umpiring and the need for you, but the fun that you can have. And so, Matt, Hunter, appreciate y'all being here this morning.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
So we mentioned it in our Lawrenceville Health report at the top of the show about how there's not a organization. I don't care if you're officiating football, volleyball. Volleyball may not be, because everybody says, all the basketball officials say you've got to do volleyball because it's not that bad.
The last civilized sport in America.
Is to be able to need officials. And baseball is not any different.
No.
And y'all, of course, in basketball, we got junior high and high school, and sometimes we cover some little dribblers and stuff like that. But the Baseball Association here has got a ton to cover.
Yes.
Because of Little League, high school, all the things. And so talk a little bit about, I can say this because I know I'm older than you. Matt, you're a bit older than, I think, maybe both Hunter and I. So
yeah, probably.
So what made you get into it? And then I'm curious, Hunter, as a younger guy that's kind of invested in it as well, but kind of what made you get into it and how long you've been doing it, and why do people need to become umpires?
Well, so actually I started out in basketball. You and I officiated basketball together here in the Abilene chapter years ago.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember that or not, but I actually started out in basketball because some buddies that I played basketball with in high school, they started doing it in the summer where I grew up in Stephenville, and doing little dribblers and stuff like that. And then we started doing some. So I started doing it with them, and then we started doing some junior high games, and I kind of work your way up. And so when I went off to college, I kept doing the basketball thing because it's a great way to earn some money. When you're a college student and you've got classes and homework, you don't have necessarily a lot of time for a part-time job or a full-time job. And the great thing about officiating sports is it's very flexible on your schedule. And so you can do as many games or as few games as you want. But so I started in basketball, and then when I ended up back here in Abilene, I was officiating basketball with George Valdez, and he worked at the same bank that I did. And he kind of came to me one day and said, "Hey, Matt, you want to do baseball?" And I love baseball. Played when I was a
No,
kid.
you talk about a guy that's done it a long time. It's
George
Valdez.
Valdez, yes, he is one of the best. And so he, I said, "Sure, why not?" So I got my start in Little League, and in Little League comes school, because high school starts in February. We start having scrimmages and tournaments and some early season games. But starting in Little League was a really good starting point for me, even though I had some experience in officiating basketball. And at this point, I was doing low-level high school basketball, small schools, mid schools, things like that. But George and Howard Shields. They took me under their wing, and they kind of taught me everything they know. And I mean, coming from George Valdez, he's one of the best to learn from.
Right.
And so I held on to it, everything they taught me, and I took all that and just worked hard at becoming a good umpire, and I loved it.
So what about you, Hunter? I mean, what got you want to do it? Because we have some young officials, whether it's football, basketball, desire to get into umpiring.
Well, playing baseball in high school, I've loved baseball. I've played it since I was 5 years old. T-ball, moving up, and unfortunately, I wasn't good enough to go play college ball. Would love to have done that, but I just wasn't good enough. And so I go to school at Hardin-Simmons, and as Matt alluded on, when you're in college, you need some cash. And
Right.
What better way to make cash doing something you love? And so I was just kind of signed up to umpire, didn't really know what I was getting into. And then I found a whole new aspect of the game that I love. And so it just kind of continued on for me. Started as a college job, graduated, had to take a few years off because I didn't have a flexible schedule enough to go umpire. I was working late nights, and then started out doing Little League, and then just kind of figured out, hey, if you work at this, there's plenty of games that you can have, and you can be, get better and move on
Right.
the ranks.
And that's the thing. And somebody asked, and I want to get on to the recruiting part of it. The hard part about it is, it happens a lot with basketball as well. Your first games that you do, and Josh was talking about it earlier, is you start with Little League, or you start with junior high. And the hardest part is, and parents, I'm going to be honest with you, I've said all along, most of the time, the younger the game, the worse the parents are. Whether it's Little League or junior high, you go, because it's sometimes the worst set of parents. And so it is hard, and it's very important to make sure as an association, when you go and you send those young officials, whether it's to a Little League game or to a basketball game, that you send somebody that's not going to keep. You don't send two rookies that are going to get thrown to the wolves in a Little League game or a high school or junior high game.
Well, we try not to. Sometimes we don't have much.
But okay, so now let's go into that. The reason that is there's not enough people getting into it, and that's why you need to go to AbileneBaseballUmpires.org to sign up, because I've seen Little Leagues that have to get parents to do it because you just don't have enough to send to it, or you have to move games around. And so I don't care what you're officiating. If you decide to do it, the money's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than it's ever been.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And not only is it better than it's ever been, but the other thing is, it's like a substitute teacher. You can block. I don't want to umpire this week. You can block it.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this. You can block it. And so, talk a little bit about signing up and what they need to do.
So, and as a baseball official, I have kind of a unique perspective because I have 4 kids, and I have 3 boys, and all 3 of my boys play baseball. So I played baseball, coached baseball, and all from them. So I've been a coach, I've been a fan, and I've been a player, and I've been an umpire. So I kind of have a unique perspective on the field. But The umpire pay has gotten way better than it did when I first started.
Now, what about you, Hunter?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just about signing up and
Signing up, for me, I'm sorry.
no, you're good, Hunter. Just talk a little bit about how folks can get into it.
Oh, well, the best thing to do is go to our website, AbilingBaseballUmpires.org. And then there's a link on there that says literally become an umpire. It's the first thing that you see on there is become an umpire. Or I'll make it easier on you. You can even text me. I'm going to throw out my number right now. You can text me at 325-201-13. I'm head of the recruitment, and so I'm just going to throw my cell phone number out there for anybody that wants to. Text me, call me, whatever. We'll talk to get you signed up and get you rolling with that.
And so, Hunter, talk a little bit about equipment-wise, because you don't just show up and whatever you want. You got to get some equipment. Most of the time, and we tell, and y'all got a little bit more because you've got the pads and all the gear that are behind the plate umpires got to have. How they can get in that. A lot of times it will help you get it, and then after a couple of games, you've paid for your equipment.
Yes. So right now we're working on a few things because we understand that cost. We understand that it can get a little pricey. But I mean, we have guys like myself right now. I have old gear that I've used for a few years, and just I've made enough money where I can upgrade. I'm selling used gear. I think other guys in the chapter have used gear that they're selling. Also on our website, we have links to different websites, our vendors that you can go there, and they have umpire starter kits. And literally, you do about 2 games, and it pays for itself. 2 to 3 games, and now that equipment's paid for. Now, don't go get the most expensive stuff right out the gate. See if you like it, and then if you don't, the chapter will probably buy that back because, again, we're trying to find different avenues for new umpires to get their foot in the door and want to continue to work.
Well, and there's people that get into it, and one that honestly shocks me, and I know he loves this kind of music, but Landon Leverage is a guy that's got hooked on and is.
He loves it.
He loves it. I mean, he's almost made it a ministry going to these different little leagues and places, and so talk a little bit. I mean, because again, what you make, and I mean, it's an opportunity to make money, and I put it on our Facebook page. When I put up the website of AbilingBaseballUmpires.org you get a new network. You mentioned George Valdez and Shields. You get a new network of people, and I coached for 10 years. You coached, your brother coached. You get on the other side of it. It is a different perspective,
right?
And so, but I guess the reason I stress that you need to sign up and want to do this, and I put it in our post too, is school districts, little leagues need. I mean, they need personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than when you see we are hiring other places. Mm-hmm. That's what the chapters are doing. Is because you need them, because you want the games to be covered. You as a parent want to be covered. And I'm going to tell you another thing, parents, if your kids are playing, sign up. I've got buddies that got out of coaching. They only rep junior high games because they don't want to miss their high school kids' games, or they want to go watch their junior high. The flexibility is huge, and so
it is.
And so I can't emphasize enough that if you want to become a baseball umpire, talk real quick, Matt. We got a little bit of time left of what that looks like, and what I know Hunter gave how to sign up, but meetings and what does that look like?
Yeah, so we meet once a week on Wednesdays at DBATS. They've been gracious enough to give us a place to meet, and that's where we go over pertinent information each week during the season. Like I said, high school season gets kicked off during February. We'll have an on-field mechanics meeting for high school because umpiring mechanics are a little different in high school than they are in Little League and youth ball. But we don't just throw you out there to the wolves. We're going to train you. We're going to get you started on rules. Learning the rules, teaching you the rules, and that's what we do a lot in our meetings. We meet for an hour and a half every Wednesday out at DBATS. We go over rules. We talk about we'll have different veteran umpires. They'll take a rule and they'll study it and then we'll teach that rule in our meetings, and we talk about other things. But, just the other great thing about umpiring is the camaraderie. I mean, same in basketball, same in football. Across the board officials are needed everywhere, and if we don't start, because I'm 49 years old, so I still got a few years left, but, we do have some older gentlemen in the chapter that are, getting ready to kind of retire and not umpire baseball anymore. And so our chapter's not getting any younger. So we need, I'm not saying that we don't need, guys our age, to come sign up, because we have plenty of those. But, like right now, I've got my youngest son. He's 17 years old. He started doing youth ball 2 years ago, and he loves it. I mean, he's a lot of money umpiring minor league games, major league games. My oldest son got into it after he graduated from college, and was in between, graduating and starting his first job. And so he started doing some high school ball and some youth ball. And so, we need the young guys to come in and start learning how to do this. And here's the thing, UIL is cracking down. I know, the biggest thing that everybody talks about with umpiring is, parents and coaches and fans, and how rough they can be. After you've done it a while, that kind of stuff goes, you start to learn how to deal with that stuff. It is a little tough when, in the beginning when you're young, but once you've done it a few years, you kind of tune that stuff out. You learn how to handle those situations. But, the big thing is just getting started, getting in it, learning how to do it, and learn to, handle those. He's done a great job of, really cracking down on fan bad behavior, on coach bad behavior. And, UIL has come up with the 3-strike rule. So that really helps. So there's a lot of things in place now that are hopefully, making it a little easier for young umpires, new umpires to want to come in and learn how to do it.
Well, Hunter, Matt, appreciate y'all coming in again.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Abilene-umpires.org, AbileneBaseballUmpires.org. Again, it's on our Facebook page as well. So get signed up. They'll get you taken care of. Go back if you missed it. Go back. You can listen to our podcast. And again, great opportunity. So appreciate you guys coming out this morning. Go ahead, Hunter.
Our first meeting is going to be December 20th at DPAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there for everybody.
December 20th, opportunity. You
6
can learn
o'clock,
about it. 6 o'clock at DBAT. And we'll keep posting.
And we're also just real quick, we're hosting the state meeting for baseball here in Abilene, January 6th.
So there you go. Great opportunity to get a part of baseball, umpiring, all the things. And so when we come back, we're going to go to our Pest Patrol phone line. Jeremy Mullins and the Rattlesnakes, the Rattlers of Toller, heading to AT&T. We'll be back right after this.
Man, thanks for having us on, bro.
You bet. Appreciate it, man.
Hey,
Thank y'all.
you bet.
Thanks,
Thank
Hunter.
you.
Thanks, Hunter. Appreciate it.
Josh.
It's better now.
Yeah.
It was messed
Hi,
up.
I'm Misty.
Matt Loudermilk.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Thank y'all for coming on. Nice to
Tell
meet
David I said
you.
hey.
I will.
I'll get you in a second.
Good to see you.
Misty, is that still
All right, thank you.
going?
Yes, I think it was.
I got a funny officiating story from coaching basketball the other day.
You can hear it? Okay.
Coaching my other team, and the officials are high school or college kids.
Hello? Hello? Hey, Jeremy, could you hear me a while ago? I'm trying to figure it out on this landline. I was dialing it, our phone didn't, I don't know, it's all checked out. Anyway, we'll just do it. Okay. If something must have messed up, I don't know. Hey man, congratulations. That's awesome. So we got a couple of commercials. We'll talk about the with dad and getting ready and, you know, oh man, I gotta get snake farm up. Hold that thought. So, so has it been a whirlwind or how's that been?
Yeah, a little bit of one for sure. I guess anytime you're somewhere you've never been before, it's all been a whirlwind.
So I guess this will be the first time for. I know your dad was on staff when they won the national championship, but this will be his first experience with this, right? At any time.
You're right. We've watched a lot of state championships in the stands. Neither one of us have ever been on the sidelines for one.
That's pretty cool. Hurry up, ad. Hurry up, ad. Oh my gosh, I got a long ad. Come on. But does Baylor and them play tonight?
They play tomorrow.
I'll play tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I guess. So did you play Thursday just to get an earlier, just in case?
Yeah, you know, our game next week is Wednesday night. So it's a quick turnaround.
Right.
Could have played Wednesday if everybody would agree to it this week, but that's.
All right, Jeremy. Hey, we're coming back right now, man. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. It's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment where we highlight a local player, coach, or program. And today we're highlighting a local player that's now making a difference out in Touch Patrol phone line is Jeremy Mullins, the head football coach of the Toller Rattlers. Jeremy, appreciate you joining us this morning and a great reason why we're calling.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
All right, Jeremy and them, they won last night, beat Stratford 35-7 to take the Rattlers to Jerry World. You're heading to a state championship opportunity that all coaches look forward to get to play for a ring. And Jeremy, just talk a little bit. Again, Jeremy played at Merkel, got to coach with his dad, Keith Mullins. That a lot of folks know him. But you've kind of experienced this full circle of getting to do what your dad did, who got to coach with his dad at Merkel, and you're kind of getting to do it again, repeating history with your dad. Talk about the turnaround that you've been able to do there in Toller.
Well, no, it's certainly been fun. You're right. Working with my dad was fun, and then just 10 years ago, that was the first phone call I made. He was a very hard Baylor, had a big nice office, so he didn't even know where Toller was. Now he's here in a little bitty office at the office. I don't know that we've necessarily made a turnaround until they've been pretty good here for a little while. I think we've just done a good job of maybe taking it to the next level. We've got good kids. It's a great community. We're very similar to the support that we had when we were in Merkel. Great kids, great parents, and fun to be a part of.
Well, and so talk about how, the excitement of being in a small town and kind of what the community's been like in Toller.
Yeah. If you'd been at the game last night, you wouldn't have thought anybody was left in Toller. I was a little worried about Thursday evening, 5 o'clock game, 3 hours away. We're pushing it Toller. We don't have to travel very far for most of our games, and so that for a lot of our people, we were kind of wide-eyed as far as how far Vernon was from Toller. But I don't know that there's anybody not at the game. We've got tremendous community support in all sports. we play. I think we show up here better than anybody most of the time, certainly in playoff games. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for the community, for the kids. A lot of excitement and fun way to kind of end the semester.
Well, and honestly, you talk about one of the things that you've got going on there is successful programs. I know you're an athletic director, but the successful programs, you got your basketball team, which another Merkle Badger is on your staff, and Scott Richardson, and just getting kids bought into, let's get playoff t-shirts from November all the way to the end. Having a good group of athletes right now and being able to compete, Scott in basketball games with guys he's going to get from you. Just how fun is that, knowing that the athletic program as a whole is going in the right direction?
Yeah, no doubt. Our goal here is to be great at everything that we do. Whether that's football all the way to golf. In the spring, we want to go and compete and do it at a high level. We've been very fortunate to do it. Our volleyball team got beat in the regional final. You go back to last spring, our baseball team made it to the regional final. Right after basketball, like you mentioned, made it to the regional final. So the girls golf team, our girls golf for the state tournament, a bunch of track kids in the state track meet. And so, I think it's a little thing. I think it's contagious. Kids kind of get a little taste of success and know what that looks like, and they're able to carry it on from sport to sport. We're small school. You got to have your best one doing a little bit of everything. I'm lucky here to have a staff that understands that, pulling the rope in the same direction, supporting one another. I think that goes a long way.
And Jeremy, talk about, you're a part of a coaching family, your dad, your granddad, along with coaches' wives that are important. Talk about the family affair again. You mentioned, or we were talking in the break, Baylor, your younger brothers on staff at Austin Westlake, playing tomorrow night. But just talk about how important the family, from not only parents, but the wives that make this job what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of gigs or jobs in the world that you got to have a good wife, and this is the one I know. But there's no doubt that without the support of somebody at home, this thing's probably not possible. And so I've been very, very lucky in that regard as well. That my wife Mandy, she's kind of had it grown into it. And we over the last 17 years ago. But man, she is without her, I'm not able to do what I do. And we spend a lot of time, a lot of hours into this deal. And she certainly keeps the ship going straight.
Well, and Jeremy, no matter what happens, you got one more game left. Talk about getting to play at Jerry World, 7:00 Wednesday night against obviously a good team in Timpson. But what are you looking forward to most as you continue to prepare? Yes, it's still a football game, but it does have a little bit of difference in that it is for a state championship.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. It's going to be a little different, right? A little different environment. Last game of the year. And right now, I'll be honest with you, we're just still smiling from last night. Super, just happy for our kids. What a cool experience that they're about to get to be a part of. And with that said, I get off this call and start back to work on how to go win this thing. We've used the quote the last couple of weeks. We didn't come this far to get this far. So it's fun to get there, but it'd be a whole heck of a lot more fun to go win that back way.
Well, there's no doubt, and getting to do it with your dad and family, and hopefully there'll be another Mullins playing there next week as well with Baylor and Westlake. And so, Jeremy, I know it's a busy time. Late night last night, early morning today. I think a lot of you and your dad and your whole family, from punting into the end zone with Baylor when we were practicing, when I was coaching at Merkle. And so, congratulations, and man, we hope Snake Farm gets one more bite and take out Timpson and win that state championship.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach Holmes. Thanks for having us on.
All right, that's Jeremy Mullins heading off to a state championship title game next Wednesday at AT&T. When we come back, we will have Misty join us right after this. Man, appreciate you. tell your dad hello and appreciate you a ton, man. And I think I'm gonna try and maybe go Wednesday night if that's the only game I get to watch next week. I'll be glad to do that one.
Awesome. That'd be cool.
So-
Give us a holler.
I will appreciate it. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. You bet. See you around.
See you, bud. Bye. I don't know how.
You're this loud. Yeah, I was thinking, if you're down that road listening to that, you probably could not hear him over just like the road noise.
Yeah, absolutely not. Definitely not me and my Bronco. It's loud. But yeah, look, we're like slowly unveiling.
Yeah. Process.
Yeah. I know, it's making me laugh. Look. Yeah. I didn't see my mall walker guy this morning.
They're out there. They passed.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right, so we're off schedule, obviously. So what's the schedule now?
We're really not off schedule. You just go, now we'll go to Misty's bag right off the bat.
Well, but we had CFP work, but no.
8 o'clock.
After it's my bag.
Keep gas line.
We'll come back to Snake Farm. So when they go into the locker room after they win, that's what they play at Snake Farm.
It's such a random song.
Because they're the Toller Rattlers.
I love it.
Morning, everybody. What's that?
I said it sure sounds nasty.
Sure does.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Is this in our faces or we're good? Thank you.
Yeah. I've got Walmart. Mall
See,
walker.
we are, okay, I want to interview one of them. I need to find like
I'm telling you.
the oldest mall walker in the Mall of Abilene.
I don't even think that's the oldest.
No, like who's been doing it the longest?
Not the oldest.
The tenured, the president of the mall walking
The
club.
longest tenured.
Hey, Ramon.
Is this in my grill? Is that?
No. Perfectly placed.
Okay. Or is it like right here? Normally I'm like, awesome. It totally.
Y'all tell us, listeners, as she just did that.
Yeah.
Is she giving a baseball signal?
Clay always is like, hey, your boobs are the only thing showing.
That's just in the screen.
Welcome back as we congratulate the Snake Farm of Toller, again, our Big Country Electric My Town segment. The Toller Rattlers heading to the state championship, the Mullins crew, and hopefully again, Baylor is at Westlake. Not a bad place to be if you want to win state championships in Westlake, but again, congratulations to Jeremy and his folks. But we have everybody back, and now it's time right off the bat to
It just never gets old watching him
I can't wait
try
for
to
I really
dance.
can't wait for the mall walkers to get to see that too. And
Yes, and they need to answer the question too. Oh, I love it.
I can wait a long time.
Y'all, it is the Christmas season. We've talked about this a little bit. It is. Believe it or not. What is today? The 8th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're a little over a week in. Lots of Christmas going on. Speaking of, Mulligan's has their patio, so if you're needing to get a holiday party going, call them. Patio's super fun. They'll take care of you. They've already kicked everything off and having some Christmas parties already. So give them a shot for your Christmas party. So this comes from a listener, Jingle Jones. I really like it. I'm like, okay, this is good.
That's the real name?
Well, I mean, I
It is
don't.
during the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, during the season.
Stage.
Yeah. You are tasked with coming up with a new holiday cocktail. What are you calling it and what's in it? Jingle Jones wants to
The
know.
Christmas cocktail and what's in it.
What are you calling it and what's in it?
Josh?
Well, that requires a slight bit of thought process. Because one, we don't really do the whole cocktail thing, so I'm gonna have to expand my palate, I guess. Well, okay, I think it has to have something minty because it's Christmas season. So maybe some Rumple Mints.
Ooh, that took me back.
Well, there's not $2 you call it, so you don't have to worry about it. Because if you're coming to my place, the cocktails are way more than $2. I'm just gonna tell you.
How much is your cocktail?
I need some Rumple Mints with a candy cane as a stirring stick. All right.
Cute.
Some ice, obviously. And we need to add, what would be a good, let's see, some other like kind of garnish. What?
So right now you have what?
Rumple Mints,
Okay.
ice.
It's a shot at this
Well,
point.
no, we're working on that because I'm trying to. Okay, so we'll make it more refined for the people that don't just want to pound shots. So I don't know why you wouldn't on Christmas. So we'll add some ginger ale. No, soda water.
Healthy.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut
What I
back
love
on
about
calories.
this-
Low
What
cal.
I love about this, Misty, is I'm trying to do my best, Josh, here. Well, that's going to take a lot of thought, but within about 2 seconds, I've got a drink.
He's like, I got
The
this.
mine started rolling.
It's going to take a lot.
So soda water with Rumple Mints, a candy cane for a stirring stick, and I'm trying to think of what my garnish would be other
But
than
what's
that.
it called?
Well, I don't know.
What
Jingle
part?
Jones wants to do it.
It's-
Jingle Jones is
like-
actually pretty cute.
But
Jingle Jones wants a name for the drink, right?
Jingle Jones does want a name, yes, and what's in it. So give
so-
the man or woman.
you're
want.
assuming.
I mean, I am assuming.
So a name.
What's funny is I've got mine, and it's actually going to benefit your wife, and she's probably going to make it.
Oh,
I already have my name. I'm literally trying to think of a drink as we speak.
So while you have it,
yes.
what's the name?
We'll call it the Buddy Whomper.
The Buddy
Because Buddy the
Whomper.
Elf will wall the floor if he has too many of them.
There we go. Buddy
How about
Whomper.
you would call it like a berry Merry Christmas?
That's a
Because
better
you're
idea.
there, because
That's a
you're
better
there.
idea.
He's
But
not berry. There's not a lot of berry.
there's no berry in it.
I know,
I
you
saw
can
the
try
bear-
one.
bear
What's your
permit.
berry?
The
Oh,
bear
yeah.
permit. Bear permit. The
Oh,
bear
that's
permit.
like a double pun. I like that.
Yeah.
Bear permit.
Bear
The
permit.
bear permit Whomper.
Peppermint.
And after you have 3, you won't be able to say it anymore.
Yes, it's hard enough to say it when you had none.
I'm like, Burger,
I'm
I
gonna
sound
take-
drunk right
I'm
now.
gonna do the bare minimum.
What?
So, a friend of mine, and I think she can say it. A friend of mine, Sarah, was telling me that we had some Christmas gifts that some things happened, and some people bring little shots of Fireball.
Okay. Yeah.
Your wife likes red apple ale.
Uh-huh.
Well, apparently, if you have the long neck red apple ale, is what I hear, And if you drink
Never done research.
if
science.
the red apple ale, you drink the red apple ale part of the bottle,
So
just
it's
the
neck.
long neck, and then pour Fireball in.
Ooh.
Says it is a pretty amazing, nice ice cold beverage. So
He's going Fireball.
again, Reed Beverage, great supporters of the show. So you can do this with red apple ale. I've got confirmation because I'm gonna talk about other people that don't support us.
Oh, yeah.
So red apple ale, do the Fireball.
Mhm.
I wouldn't call it fire in the hole because everybody's got burgers called that and stuff like that. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants.
Nobody wants that.
I
So-
was like, ew.
But and you don't want to fire in the chimney.
Fire.
Fire.
Obviously.
Yeah. To
So I don't know. That would be I would go the Fireball red apple
Mhm.
combination, and I'll work the name sometime before the show's over. But that'd be my drink.
Okay, so I am going to make my drink taste beachy, but it's
Beachy.
going to have a little red like twist. So this is what I'm thinking. Like rum and pineapple juice
Okay.
with some grenadine to make it red because we're in the holiday spirit. Okay, y'all don't cancel me for this name. Rocking around the Christmas tree. Do y'all love it?
that
It's
was
like
just-
misty.
Yeah. But it also just sounded like you stuck when you were talking.
It is long.
I like
And
one for Christmas.
It needs to be a little shorter, but it is a little long. But rocking around the Christmas tree,
Okay.
and my ice would be shaped. Now you can like
Yeah,
shape your.
yeah.
It's going to be a Christmas tree.
Oh, there you go.
For a play on misty, Christmas. The whole thing because
That's
I'm
pretty good.
cheesy. Yeah.
So we've
that would
got
be
the
mine.
peppermint,
Very, yeah.
and the rocking around
around
the
the
Christmas tree, and then the Hodge fire apple. I guess
Fire apple. Yeah,
that's not a very good name. I'm gonna work on a better.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole. Do y'all remember there's a Saturday Night Live skit about Uncle Jemima's mashed liquor?
Oh, I have never heard of Uncle Jemima or
Yeah.
Jemima.
It was a skit on Saturday Night Live. I think it was Samuel L. Jackson was Uncle Jemima. No,
That's great.
did not.
Uncle
Yeah.
Jemima.
but his
Never heard
tagline was like, "It'll get you drunk."
That's Hodges. And the bear permit or whatever it is. Very Merry Christmas. But whatever.
That's a good one.
So want to encourage you
I'm gonna
again.
have
Head
to
over to Mulligan's.
Buy
But
some stuff and make.
text us at 972-244-3953. What would your cocktail be if you were getting ready for a Christmas party? What would yours be? 972-244-3953. And again, that's Misty's Bag, brought to you by Mulligan's. And so we head into the 8 o'clock hour. The college football playoff committee got it completely wrong. I'm going to tell you why. We hope Josh can control himself because he told me I needed to have my big pants on, and we'll see if I have.
pants.
Big
Because
boy
you are
pants.
incorrect.
I need the popcorn. I'm
And
ready for
Misty
this
has her
segment.
thoughts. But when we come back, we're going to move into our Coleman County State Bank hour number 2. Kick off the 8 o'clock hour right after this.
GD. Did y'all like that question? I thought that was cute. Jingle Jones. Jingle Jones would be like a good stripper name at Christmas season.
Yes.
Like, wouldn't that be? Like, yeah, welcome to the stage, Jingle Jones.
Jingle bells on the G-string strap.
Yes, or a little Santa sitch.
Well, you need a Santa suit. I'll
Yeah,
100%
like
produce
Santa
that for
suit
this.
and put some buttons. I think that would be so cute. Yeah.
Billy said he's still in second.
Huh? I know. See, I knew it. When I can't sit anywhere good because then it's like.
No, it wasn't there. It's just you did this.
Oh.
You gave the signal.
I was like.
What? Huh?
It's always my chance.
Who?
Actually, your drink does sound kind of tasty.
I think
I think so.
Johnson
And yours does too.
Johnson Wesson is a big Ruppelman's guy.
Ugh. I have had.
You know, like
I've seen
Ruppelman's.
or heard of him in a long
Had some rough nights with man.
I can't wait to come back to the 8 o'clock hour.
Oh, yeah, this is gonna be good.
Is anybody text Josh?
No one ever texted
Well, maybe Jamal will.
To whatever. To my. Do y'all remember the guy that lived like underneath? He was like, take it, dude. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
And that was so funny. Oh, are we doing another? We're still teasing?
You're taking off 2. You can't take 2 at a time.
I will take two at
This
a
is
time
like-
if I want.
This is like Major
that
League. This is like Major League. Every win you get to remove more.
And yours is tomorrow.
Yeah. What about this? Are we leaving these up all the time?
No, they're getting some things that are gonna be like,
Can we get cutouts and put us in a window?
I'm
Wouldn't that be so cute?
It was
Want
gonna
to
be
scare everybody away.
gonna be a surprise, but now I'm gonna use lighting these pictures. I'm gonna get some follow
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so cute.
So,
What
I just-
picture is it?
well, I just need a picture of us, but the ones we
All
have now,
three?
are all-
Are kind of old.
they're all, well, no, but they're all in dress clothes.
Okay,
That's why I'm trying to take a picture of this.
okay.
You could do one in either this or, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a Hodge Pack. I mean, I guess the bobblehead can just have Hodge on the
Is it
bottom.
gonna be all three of us together
I
or
would just separate.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
I don't want to blow up all of
Together.
it.
We
I
have
would
to
work
get some
out.
really cute pictures together,
Yes.
even though every time I do, you're like.
And that's negative.
You're
That's why I
like-
was asking if you were gonna use the HBA Christmas party.
It's only me, not Hodge. I'm the one who's like, yeah.
But y'all always do it and everybody loves to see it.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
awesome.
Collins
But everyone
had to
likes
do her
It's
part.
really weird when you say there's an unanswered question, connection from, alignable and the person's no longer alive.
Wouldn't that be cute? We need cardboard cutouts. Like, where's the rock? Would that not be the cutest thing in one of the windows? Let's just get a cardboard cutout of the Hodge Pack.
I think we need to do that.
I'm serious. That would be so
We
cute.
definitely need some decorations.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out.
This is for Josh.
My favorite song. I learned how to play that on the
I
keyboard.
love that song.
Back in
Welcome
the
back to
80s.
the Hodge Pack as we kick off our 8 o'clock hour with Josh's favorite song. If you've got a gift that you want to give, you can just give him about a bunch of Wham albums.
Yeah.
The Wham
I
Christmas
cherish
album.
all of the catalog.
Oh, again, we're glad that you're here. Hey, don't forget, nominations went out for Specialty Personality of the Year, Greg Austin, JB Cloud, of course.
Specialty personality, that's sweet.
It was, that came out wrong. Large market radio personality.
I thought he was gonna say Marge.
Large.
He kept large market.
This is for radio
No, no,
announcers.
for all of the people on this
Radio
station.
announcers
Do
that are
it now.
over 250 pounds.
Do it.
What about the
For
sub
this
250
station.
class? The middleweights? You got any in that?
Yeah, we got some featherweights and leatherweights and all the things.
Welterweight, I've never understood what that meant.
Welter.
Welter, bantam, I don't know.
But again, welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're rocking and rolling.
I just keep screwing up Hodge and saying random things.
Yes, Josh is very good at that. College football playoff is set. The Final Four is set and ready to roll, and they got it 100% completely wrong. And I'm going to tell you what. Josh, would you like to go first, or do you
Oh,
want me to
no,
go
no.
first?
You're the one that says it's wrong. You have
It
to
is
defend your
wrong. Okay.
stupidity.
Here's why it's wrong. You have 5 power, and I explained this to Freddie and Harry.
Freddie
which is-
and Harry, your
Freddie and
video
Harry,
friends.
which is ESPN show in the afternoon. One, have you ever had a friend that dated somebody that was just crazy, and you tried to tell them, hey, do not keep dating this person, and they don't listen, and they end up marrying that person? Well, that's what the college football committee did. They started dating this idea of 4 people, and you've got 5 Power 5 conferences. Now they married them, And now they're having to get a divorce because next year is the divorce, and now they realize we've messed up and we're going to 12. But let's focus on this one. We've got 5 Power 5 conferences. The NCAA has 5 sons, and the group of 5 are cousins. And Florida State wins their conference. They go 13-0, undefeated, with a backup quarterback, and they did what they're supposed to do. And they get left out because Texas, actually, you know why they got left out? It's because Alabama beat Georgia. I think if Georgia beats Alabama, SEC is in, Texas and Alabama's out, and Florida State is in. Because if you want to tell me that the 4 best teams need to be in, do you think Washington is one of the 4 best teams in the country? The answer is probably no. The 4 best teams, and that's your argument, it should be Michigan, Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. And you can put Georgia at 4, you can put Texas at 1 because of the head-to-head with Alabama, and then you can put Alabama above Georgia because the Alabama beat Georgia. That should be your top 4 if it's the best 4 teams in the country. But when you have 5 Power 5 teams and 2 of them, and they go undefeated, it's basically like saying you've only got 3 kids, Josh, but if you had 2 more, and our kids, we've got 5 kids, we've got 5 kids, we're going on vacation. Sorry, Timmy.
There's only room for 4.
And the 5th one gets to stay home. They're treating Florida State like a cousin or of a group of 5. And Jeremy McBrayer said, well, Liberty ought to be considered. No, Liberty's not in a Power 5 conference. That's why Florida State still should be in. And I would have limited, this would have been my 4. Washington, Texas, and Florida State. Well, you're going to say, well, why are you going to put Florida State 4th? They're undefeated. In the group that should be in, I think Texas is better. If Michigan's the top team right now, they should have maybe the easier of the 2 or easier of the 4 to be their first round. And then you would have a Texas-Michigan, most likely, national championship that would still be watched, that would still be viewed, and would still be entertaining. They got it wrong.
Well, here's my thought process on this is arguing the validity of a 4-team playoff is null and void. That's the parameters in which we're set. I agree that they're not good parameters. There's the likelihood of having exactly this type of thing happen if you set your parameters at 4 teams. But there are seasons that is not really a problem. There are seasons that there are clear runaway better than others, and I think last year was like that with how Georgia was. You didn't need a 4-team playoff. Georgia and Michigan probably should have just played game playoff and been done. But that's not the way that it's set up. So,
and the fact that you said TCU is okay to be in last year after losing a conference championship game, again, shows you that your validity and what you are good at doing, you are not. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I didn't think TCU should be in last year, but somebody had to. And like I said, last year, I don't even think they're really good candidates to do so. I mean, everyone was just going to get lined up to get curb stomped by Georgia. So, I mean, that's
TCU did.
Yes. So that's
and ironically, the other argument going back differently is that TCU, who probably nobody thought would beat Michigan last year, beat Michigan to get into that.
Right. And that was expected, and that's why you say, well, that's why you play the game. And no, Florida State should not be in. But if you want to, and like I said, I told you I was going to bring receipts. Tell me of these teams that we're talking about, who had the hardest strength of schedule this year?
I'm going to let you research it. I'm going to say either maybe, I don't know if it was Alabama or Texas.
It was actually Texas at number 2 hardest strength of schedule, and that is the method in which we're doing this is the NCAA Division I teams are ranked 1 to 100 and something, and then the total rankings of those teams that they play compiled. Does that make sense?
Right.
So, like, we're not just talking about you played a top 25 team or whatever. Texas had using that methodology, which obviously does have some, I mean, there's some subjectivity as how those teams are ranked, but we got to go with what we got. Had the second toughest strength of schedule in college football. So they lost one game to Oklahoma. You look at where Oklahoma finishes the year number 12 in the college football rankings. They had the 13th hardest strength of schedule going into the year. Oklahoma. Their average margin of victory was 21 points. And obviously they lost to Oklahoma State, which precluded them from playing in the conference championship game. So Texas' one loss was to a quality team.
Don't disagree.
Yeah. So and I think that the numbers bear out, especially when we talk about the recency bias, and that's where I think the committee went with, well, we got the best 4 teams now. Texas,
but they didn't.
Because Texas, last 3 games, their margin of victory has averaged 29.3 points. So recently, they had a backup quarterback playing for a while too, that they managed to win games while the backup quarterback was playing. Their starter came back, and they have whomped everybody that they've played. All right, so I don't think there's any
Texas. You're talking about Texas.
I don't think there's any argument that Texas should be there.
100%.
No one's arguing that Michigan should be there being undefeated, even though their strength of schedule was 51st. Like 51st. So they played no one
with Maryland
outside of the Big Ten.
And Maryland played them well too, without Coach
Yes.
Harbaugh, but they still played them close.
Georgia got left out, obviously. Their strength of schedule was 45th, and they lost their last game of the season. And that's where I think a lot of these Big 10, Big 12 doesn't do it as much. Is known for these cupcake out-conference schedules because you think your conference schedule is good enough to propel you into the postseason. I think that.
So who do you think you got it right? Because I want to.
All right. Well, I'm telling you that it is right. Alabama has they lost one game. They beat Georgia. Their loss was to Texas, who I've already described how powerful Texas is and how I think they might be the best in this if you really want to break it down. So then we want and that's Alabama seeing their offense has not been as good. So their margin of victory is much lower. Alabama.
But I think they're getting better. I think the Milner kid is playing better than he did the day he got benched after Texas. I think he's playing better now.
So now let's go to Florida State. You think Florida State should be in? They finished 5th, not 4th. Florida State strength of schedule was 55th. Their signature win of the year was a 45-24 win, first game of the season versus LSU, which propelled them into the top 10, Florida State that is. You head-to-head that with Alabama, basically a wash.
Who's probably going to be named the Heisman tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and I would agree. He should. If I had to vote, that's where I'd go. So their common opponent with Alabama was LSU. Basically the same outcome. LSU got beat by Alabama 42-28. So we're talking on the head-to-head, common opponent, a wash. Other than that LSU game, Florida State's biggest win was Louisville. And then so they've got no strength of schedule behind them, none. 55th, the worst out of all of these teams. And then you want to also talk about the recency because how we're playing. When you say, yeah, they're back up to the backup, got it done. Their average win margin for the season is 19 points. Their average for the last 3 games is 8.7. So you're playing squeaker football when you're supposed to be ready to rock, and now you're saying that you're one of the 4 best teams in the country, and it is not true. Not true. They have played no one. They don't beat anyone bad. And now they're playing with their 3rd-string quarterback. So I don't see an argument for putting them into the top 4. I don't think they belong in the top 7. They went undefeated in a conference. Whoop-de-doo, you beat Duke and Louisville.
But my point is, as an organization, you called my conference a Power 5.
I'm not arguing that the setup is wrong. The setup is wrong.
But here's my thing. Do understand, and I do believe that the SEC champion, the SEC needs to be represented in the conference championship or national championship. I got to go to this sister. I'm running out of time. I have to come back to this because I still want Misty's take on it. You said that Florida State in the ACC. Now, granted, ACC.
Well, and I don't think Washington should be there either. I didn't break down Washington's numbers. They look, other than their strength of schedule is good, and that's basically because they played Oregon twice, which really helped their strength of
And
schedule.
the Pac-12 was the Pac-12 had some teams in it that were
Right, and they were very
But the
highly
Big
ranked.
12, even though the strength of schedule was good in the Big 12, I didn't think the Big 12 was great. I
Well,
still look at the
no,
Big 12 as
but-
a basketball conference right now.
But the thing is that, like, even some of the cupcake games and games that were played in the Big 12 were not as weak as some of the others. You know, like Oklahoma played SMU that ended up being a pretty good team, played them close. You know, at the time, people were like, oh, Oklahoma, no, SMU was pretty good. But Washington has a higher strength of schedule. Their margin of victory is not good, and it's 2.7 points in their last 3 games.
Right.
You know, so like I think I would argue against either one of them being in there.
Right.
I'm fine with Florida not being in there because they don't deserve it, but I don't think Washington deserves it either.
But that's why I think they got it wrong in that if Washington deserves to be in as an undefeated Power 5 conference champion, Florida State is the same.
If
And
you're
yes-
just looking at that, then I don't. But how do you say, like,
Because
well,
you
we're going to do
you
this
could
or
have
that?
got it. I mean, here's the thing. Next year, you're still going to have an argument. Every year in March Madness, number 69, 70, there's always still talk about somebody got hosed in March Madness. They always do. It's no different than next year. Somebody's going to be 13 and 14 that wish they were in.
Well,
Or-
and there's never been an undefeated that was denied an opportunity to play for a national championship over a one-loss team.
Exactly.
So I think that's the big, everybody's super.
But we're talking about what, 6 years of total, like,
Right, and there's not a lot
like,
of history,
I mean-
but, you know, this is the first time, I think that's why
And I
everybody's
think
up in
that
arms.
too.
I'm with you, Josh, I'm not with Hodge on this deal.
Right.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I want to have time to do everything, so we're going to go to commercial. When we come back, we'll talk more about this.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna go to 2 segments.
Uh,
And this will go, I knew this would go to 2 segments as it needs
But
to.
here's,
But they don't need to be in there, and Washington doesn't either, I'm with you.
but here's my
But
thing.
that
like-
was interesting, and that's why everybody.
But see, Georgia played a terrible strength of schedule also outside of conference. They literally, like, might as well play high school teams. You know, but and I know that people say this a lot, and I know that you're saying it, but this notion of, like, to go to a tournament, there's always a controversy over who gets cut. But you're not talking about people that are actually going to win.
Right,
Like, and to me, it's like, yes, it means something to your recruiting and to your standing, and it makes your coach, like, I made the tournament,
nobody
like,
wants to see that,
but like, you're not gonna
and
win.
it's a business.
And if you went to this year, just to looking at let's say,
What are the top
Sorry, I'm
four
on the
straight
air. What's up?
What are the top 4 straight, upstate teams? Did you
Oh.
know that?
Yeah, we're at break. If I could figure out how to get hey, text it to that text line and we'll read it. I've got to figure out this phone thing, and so I don't have to hold my Chris Coach. But yeah. No, because Liberty, they're not a part of the Power 5 conference.
You know, and then to your point, these teams in a 14 class, you got 2 guys like
And you're exactly right. Notre Dame throws in a curveball because they're this independent people that they feel like, and that's fine. They're independent, and that's kind of their not calling card. Well, but they also are just trying to scrap and survive in advance like you would in a March Madness situation. And who's to say that the backup quarterback, that the second string
Arizona
quarterback,
State University had the toughest schedule.
if Arizona State,
Stanford, Kansas State, Colorado. Texas.
Let's see, roster. Give me the depth chart. If Roadmaker's healthy for the championship, then they would be even better in the college football playoff, because let's say he's healthy in 2 weeks or the end of the month and he's ready to roll.
Well, I mean, you could say that about Georgia, but that's 2 white kids. I mean, and you put in Georgia.
But that's where I think that matters. That he's not.
Right.
Technically, they're better.
You can say if he was there,
Right.
maybe they would.
They're just gonna
But
get
they got
throttled.
Alabama.
They're just gonna get throttled. It's literally gonna be Georgia TCU.
And see that, all right, we're about to come back. You're gonna hear all right. Well, thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Nobody wants to see that. It's a business. It's money.
But I also think it is money, but I also think that there is some
Just skip my.
Yeah, this is
in
great.
that battle.
They do need to do. Pick them right.
Well, when you talk about Cowboys Eagles,
Well, but we've got.
We got a little bit of time.
We'll see.
we don't have to do picks at the end.
No, we're not doing it.
Right.
Take that time to.
When Texas beats Cupcakes with their backup, it's because they're good. When FSU does it in a championship game, it's because it's a garbage victory.
I never said that.
Welcome,
Because of backup quarterback.
welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. We got people texting us, we got people calling us, we got people on our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live. Chris Cobb, FSU should be in. Good call, Coach Holmes. Thank you. When Texas beats coaches, oh man, I've got to go see a doctor. When Texas beats Cupcakes with their backup quarterback, it's because they're good. When FSU does it, it's in a championship game. It's a good. Jeremy McBrayer, who again has been in a picker who was not smarter than a fifth grader.
No, I think he was one of the three that actually was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. And so
He's smart.
Jeremy's like, well, Liberty should be in. I said, no, Liberty's not in the group. They're in a group of five, not a power five. And then he brought up Notre Dame because Notre Dame is always going to have a chance if they go undefeated. We've seen them in the national championship playoff or CFP before. But so Misty, we were going to break. What's your thoughts? I mean, I know you kept saying that it'd be a massacre, but what's your thoughts? Who do you agree
Look,
with?
I'm not saying I agree with how that all of this is done at all. Like, frankly, it sucks for FSU. Like, we were in that situation, played on that team. Yeah, that sucks. You've won out and you're still not considered, or you're considered but not in. Like, it does suck. But this is a business and it is highly about money. And I feel like, we look at TCU last year and they got throttled 65-7 last year.
And Stephen A. Smith said on, I think, First Take or one of the shows that TCU is probably one of the Florida State can blame TCU.
Yeah. Oh,
No
yeah.
one
No,
wants
that's
to see that again.
well, that's exactly why.
No one
Like,
wants
thank you, TCU, for
In the
having.
second quarter to turn off the game because you're like, well, this one's done.
Well, that's exactly what
Right.
happened. They saw what happened with TCU last year, getting throttled by Georgia. Nobody wants to see that. It's terrible for the ratings and money. Again, money, y'all. This is a business. And so I do think, sorry, FSU, you can thank TCU because they totally screwed this for you for this year. Because that's what happened. They were like, okay, we'll let TCU in. They get throttled. They're like that. We're not going to allow that to happen again. I feel like, and they have to look at the team right now. They are on their third string quarterback, whatever. They're going to get
And
throttled at all. They
and
cannot
to the
compete.
listener that said about the Texas beat Cupcakes and it's because they're good with their backup quarterback. That is not what I said or even meant to insinuate. If that was what you thought you heard, Ewers is back. If they were still going with that and that freak of an athlete guy that I can't remember his name,
Malik Robbie.
Yes.
if they still were going with him, I'd say they don't need to be there, because their offense was not good with him. The difference is Florida State is still with their backup quarterback.
And they
Their
did
offense
well.
is
But-
playing.
But Tate Roadmaker, the backup that got hurt in the Florida game, and I've not looked at injury report, but I believe it was concussion.
Yeah, he was in concussion protocol.
would be ready for the college football playoff, most likely. And so in that, your backup quarterback, you're still a Division I athlete, and I know it's the NFL. Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl, had to replace Phil Simms as the backup. They won a Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it can't happen. The likelihood of it happening is not very high. That's my point. And it's not like they blew out Louisville. That if that score would have been different, I think this could be a different conversation. But they see that and they're like, oh crap, yeah, we can't put them in.
Yeah, and
That's what Jeremy said on the phone.
Louisville's one of those teams that, like, they're not good.
No,
like,
and
their
you
average
didn't
margin of
throttle
victory for
them.
the year was 7.5 points. You know, they like not good at
I
all.
don't agree with it.
They
I
lost to
hate it for
Kentucky
them, but
when
it
they
is what
played
it is.
their interstate rival. Kentucky beat them. Kentucky was a mediocre team. I mean, so like that whole conference is not good. Clemson is very, very down, and I know that Hodge cries himself to sleep, but they barely made a bowl game.
They finished the year. Clemson finished strong.
Talk it up there, Dabo.
But I will say, Jeremy agreed with you. He said if Florida State would have beat Louisville,
Yeah, 30 plus.
if they would have beat them bad
Yeah.
and made it like, okay,
Like a showing?
we're kicking people's tails here, then yes. And I really would still say that if my money, if you could head-to-head neutral field, would still be on Georgia versus any of these people.
Same.
And now they're playing Florida State. And if Florida State has in any sort of pride and wants to try to prove anybody that they should have been there, they're going to have to step up and play Georgia. I don't know if Georgia will show up. Their starters might just stay home. All go to the NFL draft.
And that's the other thing.
Right, we don't know what's gonna happen.
So that I don't. That's what bothers me with this. The way things go now in football, because people won't care. Georgia's disappointed that they're not in the Final Four. I get that. They'll probably have people that make a business decision and don't play in the bowl game so that you don't know what that outcome would be like. But if those two teams were lining up on the field in the real playoff, that everybody was all hands on deck, I think Georgia would beat them by 30 points. And so if Florida State and make it look like that, well, maybe there was a mistake. That's the best that they can do, and that can add controversy.
I love it. That'd be great.
And then they can claim a national championship like Central Florida, and I'd be all about it. A split national championship would be absolutely fine with me.
And there used to be back in the day.
Oh yeah, there's splits all the time.
65-7 again. We're gonna see a repeat if they show up to play
But
FSU.
so Georgia might not show up.
So I'm gonna read this what Jeremy posted because I think it's right. Can you look up what is the current spread for the Georgia-Florida State game? Jeremy says the committee typically does 3 good teams in the Cinderella story. What the ultimate boils down to is they want a harder road for Michigan to get to a national championship. This also is going to huge numbers in viewership and what Misty
it's
said,
money,
viewership.
y'all. It's a business.
CFP at last deal, and of course he says if undefeated is the requirement, everybody's going to schedule ACU. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But that's what Georgia did, and that's why Georgia did.
Would you put your life savings that FSU would beat Alabama? Do you think FSU could beat Alabama? You're so strong and high on FSU. Can they beat Alabama?
I think there is a chance they could beat Alabama.
No, there's a chance.
Then,
If you flip a coin 6 times, it's going to be.
But would you bet money, a substantial amount of money, that FSU could beat Alabama right now?
No, because I wouldn't.
Okay, then they don't deserve to beat
But
them.
I wouldn't put that money on Michigan to beat Alabama. Did y'all not see?
Georgia's a 14
But we're
point
talking
favorite
3 and 4.
in the open.
Did you see when Michigan got unveiled that they were playing Alabama? The video showed them like they were like, oh.
Well, yeah, because Alabama's really good,
Yeah.
and Texas beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody got gypped, it's Georgia.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Right.
Georgia should
I love
be in
them all
there.
because I love them together.
Absolutely.
I
Let's take Washington out. Let's put Georgia in.
Washington did play a tougher schedule. They're in the top 10 in strength of schedule, which is Washington, which is why I think they're in over Georgia, because Georgia played. Look, pull up ESPN and look at their schedule. I don't have it memorized, obviously, but their non-conference games were, like you said, why don't they play ACU every time? No offense to ACU. They played teams that ACU would beat. And yet, when they lost a conference game, it ended their season because they had no resume outside of that.
Georgia's teams, and you can't count the Georgia Tech game because they're going to play that.
Well, yeah, that's the interstate or intrastate, right?
UAB, Ball State, and UT Martin.
Yes.
Were those games.
I've got a plan for this. This is going to make everybody happy. We've got an emergency 16 playoff. Okay.
And that's what it should have been from the beginning.
Michigan and Washington get a bye. Then random draw to determine matchups between Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. Everybody's happy. Let's move on. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
That's what should have happened.
All the things.
If you watch ESPN, their Tuesday night show, when they start unveiling the top what they've done every year since 100% agree with Misty. It was always a 6-team graphic. They started off with 5 and 6, and then they went 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's what it should have been. And here's the thing. Is 12 too many? Possibly.
But see, this year is, I think, one of the rare years that I would say, if Ohio State is 7, is Ohio State better than Florida State?
Well, and where's Oregon in that?
They're 8.
Well, they got their second loss.
So-
But they lost twice.
Yeah, they did
But
lose
see, when you
twice.
talk about the playoffs, I think 12 is the perfect number. Because if you talk about this year, Penn State's 10, Ole Miss 11, Oklahoma 12, LSU 13, Arizona 14. No one in their minds with those teams was a legit national championship contender.
Say that again. I was reading Chet's comment.
Okay, Penn State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, LSU, Arizona. Those would be the bubble teams for that,
last 12. Right.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So those would be the two on either side. So no one could sit down. Now everyone's got a puncher's chance. Like
Yeah,
good
any
teams,
given Sunday,
all
yeah.
of that. But no one would argue that those teams should be playing for the national championship. So the reason I think 12 is that perfect number is because that always leaves you space to push past everyone who does have a legit argument. And then at that point, if you're number 12 and you make it, good. If you're number 13, you really didn't have a chance anyway, so quit crying.
Well, and the thing of it is, and again, I know I'll go back to Mark Vandus as the basketball guy, is the top seeds in the NFL game, unless you're the Falcons and you don't have a winning record, you can host the game, is that you're should get the bye, should have an easier route to go to the national championship. And so the reason, the other thing that I'm going to like about next year in the expansion is it allows that what we see in the NFL this week, the Bills and the Chiefs are playing each other. They're in the same conference, but they're not in the same division. And so one of them can lose. Now Bills need to win it, but you can lose that game and not be out of it.
Right.
I mean, the Chiefs lost to the Packers the other night, and still people think they're the team to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
If you lose a game in the NCAA, you've got to have stuff happen. And we've said all along, my prayer has always been 5 undefeated teams, and the chaos is here. I think the chaos is just as much this year as you would if you had 5.
I think it's even more chaos than 5 because of all the one-loss teams and the fact that you're only, like undefeated team that didn't make it, was a conference championship from a Power 5, even though that, so it made for interesting TV. And then, but think about this with Ohio State. I mentioned a while ago, their one loss of the year was to Michigan. That is a huge rivalry game that they can't win anyway. So it's like, all right, well, they're going to have that one loss until they get rid of
Ryan
Day. And so that maybe
which is a crazy statement in itself.
So now they're ranked 7. And so their one loss was to Michigan, who is undefeated.
But their other problem is it needs to. All the conferences should have been like the Big 12, because what happens is if it's kind of like in football in the UIL. If you're in the same district as a really really good team, you're going to probably lose, and now put you in a bind. In the Big 12, you can lose, and those people get back in, and then you know what I mean.
Well, the two divisions.
They had to play Iowa to Ohio State.
Well, I don't like that because it's not the best 2 teams in the.
That's why Michigan throttles Iowa. That's why Florida State gets. If Florida State would have had to play a Clemson team at the end of the year, they'd probably lose to Clemson. And if a healthy Riley Leonard is playing for Duke, they possibly may lose to Duke. But they didn't. They were undefeated. They
It's a
should have got
different
in.
conversation if their quarterback is healthy.
I agree with that. When we come
It's
back,
not. I'm sorry.
sorry, we got to go to commercial. When we come back, we'll talk Dallas Cowboys
I'm
and
tired of
Eagles.
proving you wrong.
You were wrong, Josh. We'll be back.
Woo! Good segment.
You got fired up. I loved it. She looked at me like, "Would you bet your life savings?
But you wouldn't. That's because we
Right.
are right.
That's my point.
You can't even with a straight face say, Florida State would beat Alabama. You can't even
But Michigan's not going to beat Alabama.
I love it.
Okay. So
I love it.
why do you, when you defend Florida
Why
State should
did
be
it
in there
so
if they
strong?
can't beat
Still
Alabama?
love ya. But you're
I said,
wrong.
why would you want to put Florida State in there if you acknowledge they can't beat Alabama?
Well, and that's why I wanted to put that out there.
I think we're going to get a rematch. I think it's going to be Alabama and Texas. And I think Alabama's going to win the national championship.
I think FSU, if Georgia shows up, they're gonna get throttled, and then this is gonna be really sad for them, on top of them not getting it.
No, it's not going to say, because then all Florida State's going to say, well, we had our version quarterback.
Well, yeah, that is an excuse. Yeah.
Don't.
But here's my take on it also. That Florida State Georgia game, I'm sad that schools don't try to win bowl games anymore. It's one of the biggest that I have. Because first of all, in sports related, there's a lot of worse things. First of all, it makes it incredibly hard to pick in a bowl pick'em versus how it was just like 5 years ago. Have you ever thought about that?
Sorry.
You're never listening.
All right, go ahead.
Because of in like the last 5 years with this like transfer portal, people sitting out to go to the league, not wanting to get injured in a bowl game phenomenon that is recent in my life, makes it harder to pick in the bowl pick'em because you don't know what team is going to show up if like half their offensive line is not playing because they're like transferring and or
That was a fun.
going to the draft. And then secondly, it makes it to where you can't really play out these arguments. Like I was saying, like if everyone from Georgia is just so disappointed they're not in, and all the people that are going to go pro just go ahead and put the bowl game, and whoever's transferring decides they want to go somewhere else to, and they don't show up against Florida State in full strength, then we don't get to say like, well, see, this is what would happen.
Right.
The other, Liberty and Oregon, I think is an incredibly cool game. Oregon is not going to be fired up for it, so that kind of takes away like some
I
of
think
that.
Missouri. I think the Cotton Bowl, Missouri and Ohio State may be interesting.
That one
because
is too.
Yes.
Missouri played Georgia good.
Mm-hmm. I think that one's also
I just
interesting.
want them to show up and play.
But
I just want everybody on both sides, not because obviously Jordan Travis is out. I want that Rodemaker guy to be healthy
No,
to
I
play.
want both teams to show up and play with where you are right now with your team. That would be great.
I love having people walking by. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, that's why this. Yeah, we need to definitely have it more open. I love it. It's good. And then get some stuff up here. It'll be good. Because they're like, oh crap, they're doing it. And we need our live or on air button or wherever we were gonna put that.
Check out the bell.
I know. It's so cute. So cute. I love it. Okay, so are we going to take a picture? We're gonna take a new picture. Hurry up, Joshua. Page it off.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we keep rolling along in our 8 o'clock hour. Big Friday, big topic on how Josh and Misty were wrong on the college football playoff. Heisman this weekend. Josh has already admitted he thinks it should be the Heisman. Be interesting to see if Michael Penix Jr. wins that because he's an undefeated, led his team to the playoff. But a lot of folks still think Jaden Daniels will win the Heisman. But we want to remind you to Sunday night football, Eagles, Cowboys. It is the biggest game. The Eagles got throttled by the 49ers last week.
Loved it.
Brock Purdy looked very pretty. Deebo Samuel was just domination. And now the Eagles are coming to Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys are undefeated. 14-game winning streak at AT&T. You can listen and hear it right here on 106.9 The Country Giant as the Dallas Cowboys radio network is right here in Abilene, and we bring it to you from Abilene right here at KOGD. Josh, the big game this week, Misty, we'll start coming in. Dallas, it is a must-win. The reason I think it's a must-win, they're going to get in the playoffs. I say that the gauntlet continues. Seattle put up a great fight. We need Seattle to put up that kind of fight against San Francisco this week. But the Eagles come to town probably going to be off, which now is a challenge. And Mike McCarthy, bouncing back from an appendix surgery, says he's going to be ready for Sunday. But this week is a huge game, and the reason I say it's a must-win, because you can chip away and possibly still host a playoff game and maybe even become the number 1 seed.
Oh, yeah, this game is huge. And, we talked about what was the takeaway from the 49ers and Eagles game. Well, it's that the Eagles can be beat, and that the 49ers are the team to beat. And that's what I took away. I don't know what y'all took away, but that was my takeaway from that game. And I am a little nervous because it is the Eagles. And, yeah, what you said, they are going to be ticked off just like we were when we got throttled by the 49ers. And so the Cowboys are going to have to show up in every single capacity in order to win that game.
Yeah, I think when we were texting about it, I said I was upset by that outcome of the 49ers game. And Misty, I think it was you that said, you cheer for the Eagles? It's like, no, I wanted the Eagles to lose. But the 49ers look.
Yes, they do. like scary good.
So I don't know. I think it's very obvious who those top 3 teams are in the NFC. Right now, it seems like the 49ers have gotten back, in their stride and look to be the number 1 team. Not to say that, obviously they had a little spell there that they were very beatable. So that, it's not hopeless, but a win this week, really, I mean, if we want to win if you want me to be able to speak without stuttering, I don't know what to do.
Have you been on the Beermints or
no, I didn't bring Rumplemints with me today. No, but to win the division and get to host a home game, which obviously the way that the season has gone, that has extra importance. This weekend is a must-win.
Oh, no doubt. We're on a 4-game win streak. And again, coming home to try to win, I believe, 15 in a row at AT&T. Because right now we're both 9-3, but the 49ers would have the head-to-head on us there. We need to beat the Eagles this week because, again, would we love to have the bye? 100%. But Josh, I agree with you, and I agree with Misty in the fact that if we can win the division and host that game now, because I think if it ended today, we would have to go to Atlanta to play the NFC South champion, which they're battling it out. But we need, because Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, they look good.
Great. Yes, they did.
Thursday night. And so if they can go out and play and compete, because Seattle is still good and they need Kenneth Walker back. And I don't know if the longer break, if they can get Kenneth Walker back to playing, that would be huge. But I think the biggest thing this week is Dak, and we talked about it, Dak has got a chance. Because right now, I think if you have MVP of the league, I think it's between, I feel like we're back in 1994.
He's a contender.
It's between Dak and Brock Purdy right now.
Yeah, he's a contender.
You know, Tyreek Hill's probably the most valuable player, but he's a receiver and ain't got a chance to win that. He's not going to win it. It's like Marvin Harris Jr., good guy. He ain't got a chance to win the Heisman. Ain't happening. And so, but Sunday night, again, it's a primetime thing. And really, even though we're probably close to clinching playoffs and all that, to me, Sunday night is a playoff game. Because then you go from there, your little 3-game home streak or stand is gone, and you have to go on the 17th. You got to go to Buffalo. And then you got to go from Buffalo, and you got to go to Miami. And then you go to Miami, and you come back to AT&T to play the Lions. So the gauntlet, it's kind of like a video game. Seattle was a tough level, but we've gone to the
We're
next
leveling
level.
up. Yeah.
And Misty's word of leveling up is Sunday night, and the Eagles coming to town. And I'm hoping McCarthy, whatever he had done, because are we not giving – yes, he has some management issues sometimes. But are we not giving McCarthy enough credit of how Dak and how the offense is playing?
Well, I think the credit is there. I mean, he's calling the plays, and there's a lot of respect for the offense and Dak specifically. So, I think that even if it's not overt praise, if you praise how Dak is playing and how the offense is putting up numbers, that reflects on the coaching. And with him, it is a weird thing because he seems to really make some weird decisions.
Yeah, like on 3rd and 1, we're throwing like a 50-yard bomb. You're like, what are we doing?
That I think if that was tightened up,
it could get better for sure.
But all in all, there's really not much to complain about. I mean, as far as his overall, if you looked at his own coach and a coaching staff, it's got to be really good right now. You dig
You
about
What would you
it.
give him?
And you got to worry, I think, Dan Quinn, unless Jerry just keeps painting. We've already seen coaching job opens. I think we're going to see the Washington Commanders job open. I think the Chargers job could open.
Well,
So you could see Dan Quinn going out the door.
but he has to decide on a personal level, is he Wade Phillips or is he, the next,
Or are you better off?
well, that's what I'm saying, because Wade Phillips didn't make it as a head coach, but was a well-respected defense coordinator.
But I think from a defensive coordinator, he's good. But are you better off waiting out McCarthy to be the next head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys, where money's not going to be an issue, resources aren't going to be an issue, and you feel like they've, in recent years, I know a lot of people, ever since Johnny Manziel was almost drafted by the Cowboys, they think Jerry Jones is a moron when it comes to doing stuff on the GM. So had some really good drafts lately. We've added Stephon Gilmore and some signing there that I think you
And
might.
Brandon Cooks has started playing.
Right. And are you better off being the defensive coordinator at Dallas than being the head football coach for the Chargers
to leave to take a bad job, like a rebuild, a team that's not very good. I mean, that's a personal decision. What his own goals are, and I don't know. No one knows outside of whatever his inner circle is. So, but that's an offseason question.
But we're focused on this Cowboys game, and we're going to talk about picks and recognize our winner of the pick in our last segment when we send it off. But we don't have any games to pick this week because the season's still going, and we may start picking some games just individually, us three. But it's crazy right now because
and we will go pick them.
Yes, the bowl pick will come. But the AFC for so long was like, oh my gosh, it's so dominant. Who's going to win? Now I think there is a lot of parity in the AFC, and I think the NFC is the one that is very top heavy, very good with the Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Lions are like, well, are we the Florida State of this group? I don't know where we fit in. But if you look right now, if the playoffs started today, the Texans are in, the Colts are in, the Cleveland Browns are in. Playing with, you know what they're playing with? A backup quarterback.
Yes, yeah, so crazy.
It's crazy how that backup quarterback
Not a
still
third
can be.
string though.
No, actually, it's very third string.
They
Well,
call
They
it
called
I
it
guess
Joe
they-
Flacco. They're
yeah.
so third string, they went to Del Boca
Yeah.
Vista and brought a guy in from retirement. But then you look at the NFC, it's Philly, San Francisco, Detroit, and Atlanta because they're in the terrible division of the South. And then, of course, the Cowboys, Vikings, and the final number 7 would be the Green Bay Packers, who have come out of nowhere. Big weekend for college football, for the NFL.
college football is only one game.
There is only one game, but Army Navy is still a very big game. Thank you for our servicemen and women. Is you got the Bills that got to win. I mean, they've got to find a way to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are trying to figure out how do we go to a Super Bowl not playing at Arrowhead.
Right.
Everything's wrong. Joey McGuire said everything Big 12 ran through Lubbock and did not. Never mind. RIP, Philosophy 57 or whatever it was. But the how to figure that out. And are the Dolphins for real? And so I think it's so much fun. Are you worried about your Bills?
Yeah.
Or let me rephrase that. Are you worried about your Josh Allen?
My
Bills?
Josh Allen, yes, love that guy. Yeah, I mean, I am. I would love to see them beat the Chiefs. So yeah, I am. They have not been consistent. They looked better here lately, but I am concerned. This is a big game for them, and I really hope that they put up a good showing.
I agree with the assessment that went into the season thinking the AFC with the Bills, with the Bengals, the Chiefs, were kind of, had those juggernauts that none of them are real. I mean, obviously the Bengals lost Burrow and they're floundering as a result. The Chiefs just really don't look like they have that it factor,
The chemistry looks really
This
off
is
with
the
the
year.
Chiefs. It's weird.
We thought last year would have been it, but this is like, I think you're missing Tyreek.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
They have Travis Kelce, who is the best tight end in football, and they have Mahomes, who is arguably the same on the quarterback scale, and yet they don't really have much else. And the receiving core is historically bad. And I did last year say that they would take a step back because of that. I was wrong, but this year they don't have that package thing. Oh, that's a tough, like
Right.
unbeatable team, you know. And the Bills, for whatever reason, have fallen on just a very poor ability to just play consistently
just
good.
finish
Not
the game,
not even
yeah.
from week to week, but game to game.
Yeah, just
And,
finish the game.
or there's quarter to quarter is what I meant to say,
Yeah.
like inside one game. You know, so it is a big weekend as far as that goes. I think you're absolutely right. The parity is, I guess, the goal, but as I've always said, no one really likes parity.
You want entertainment. And speaking of entertainment, when we come back, we've got something to show you. At least the Facebook listeners will be able to see it. We'll be back right after this. All right, so when we come back, Josh, you're going to rattle off those.
Oh my God. Too much.
Oh, I am pumped. I will be there Sunday night.
What is Sunday night?
Eagles Cowboys.
Oh, sorry. I was like, oh, you're going to be at the game? Oh, that's awesome. Good for you.
Pretty stoked.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
My goal is I would love to meet Mike Tirico.
When are you doing like a tailgate? What are you doing? Oh, cool. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Here, we can show this, right? Your dad doesn't care. Think we already showed the listeners?
It's heavy. It's legit.
Hey, check out what our winner's getting for the pick. Well, there's a camera.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were like gonna,
I feel like next week I'm gonna bring this. I'm going tank top and I'm gonna be Pat McAfee.
Yes, I love it.
You should.
You should.
I think there'll be people that want to go to Halloween as Pat McAfee. Hey, check this out. That's right. College pick'em. No, this is the pick'em champion. You know, and it really wasn't that much money.
So fun. Next year, I'm not voting with my heart, so I can obliterate you. At least I beat
Matter,
you.
beat you.
But not by much. I don't like that. That's
You
not.
Florida State. That's why you're
Yeah,
not
I
in.
did. Yeah, but I'll at least beat you, so I'm the second best. I've had better years in the past where I've been much closer to Josh, but yeah. I'm just happy to always beat Hodge. So I'm in the middle.
Do you think Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman?
I think so.
I mean, you've got almost 5,000 total yards from passing and rushing.
Please get my vote.
Well, welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we get ready to wrap it up and head it into the weekend. Again, football weekend with the Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, and of course still some high school football games going on across the state to wrap up and finish AT&T loaded up for Texas high school football. Again, congratulations to Jeremy Mullins, Coach Mullins, Keith, and all the Mullins family, Coach Richardson as well, Scott. The Tulare Rattlers heading to play for a state championship next week, along with the Albany Lions, Westbrook, and again, Gordon Longhorns. I'm going to tell you, jot that down. That may be the best game of the entire week. Westbrook and Gordon, and of course Benjamin trying to win back-to-back championships as well against Oglesby next week. So Josh, we showed our listeners we've got a winner for our Pick'em season. They're going to get this championship belt. We've shown it to our Facebook listeners and YouTube listeners. But talk about the rundown of the year we had.
Yeah, I want to give kind of the rundown of the college football ending, and unfortunately, most of our local high school teams not moving into the semifinal round. Our pick'em came to an end. Our Hodge Pack weekly pickers. I won. I'm sorry, guys. It's every year now.
So humble.
I ended the season with 100 correct picks. Molly had 98.
Way to
Misty,
go,
you
Malls.
had 85, and Hodge, you had 82. All right, so that's our internal kind of battle there. Just kind of rounding out the "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?"
But how many were total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was Florida State on the outside.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 4 of us, so you make the final 4.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, by default.
Yeah. He's so happy.
Molly, smarter than the fifth grader. She finished the year on that looking pretty solid at 11-4. One of those. Oh, excuse me, 11-3. I mistyped that, but there was 3. One of the people that beat her was our overall listener champ. So her grandfather, my dad, who scored 102 points on the year, beating me and everybody else by a pretty wide margin as far as the listeners go.
So does he still go to Wiley Baptist?
Yes, he does.
Do you think we can get him to wear this belt next Sunday?
That might be a reach, but we can try.
Go Papa
I'm sure he'll
Greer.
be very proud of it. But yes, Molly pretty much dominated the smarter than a fifth grader. My personal standings as far as playing Beat the Bear, I won 5 weeks outright. I had a poor showing the first 2 weeks that allowed some people to kind of run up the score on me a little bit, but after that I kind of settled in and took care of business. Pops, our champ, he beat me 7 weeks out of the season. He beat me on the season overall. He won the week overall 5 times, which was the only person that did it more than once of our listeners. So other weekly winners that we had, going into this, people that won weeks. If I push this button correctly, we had Matt Casey, Jamie Robinson, Trace Michaels, my son Luke, who beat me 1 week, and Evan Harris. So those were the people that won weeks throughout the year. They all won 1. Pops won 5. It was a runaway victory.
For Pops.
Way to go,
Pops,
Papa
yeah.
Greer.
And so, of course, in everybody's defense, if gambling ever gets legal in Texas, betting on a Greer because there's 75 of them in our listing in the pool, Greer or the field is the next
That's
bet.
pretty
Greer or bust.
pretty much between Molly, my dad, and Luke. We really did own the leaderboard.
We need to get more Coggers and Holmes.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
Real quick, talk about we're going to do a college bowl. They'll be
Oh,
here
yeah.
before we know it.
We
we'll
will be
have it
sitting
posted.
out. You'll see it on our social media. It's going to be, I believe, the ESPN format because I've been looking at some stuff and I think that's the easiest one to use and share and send out. We're going to do just head up pick. No funny business with the spread or confidence or anything like that. Just pick a winner every bowl game. Total wins will be our bowl pick 'em winner.
And
obviously
we'll announce our prize package next week. We'll talk about that. We'll
Okay,
announce that
yeah,
next
so-
Friday.
And next Friday we'll have it ready to launch, so we'll be able to send that out. You can follow the link, sign up, compete about some bragging rights, and and maybe someone other than a Greer will win.
Right.
I doubt it though.
We can only hope.
Again, great weekend tonight. This weekend, Sunday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. Don't forget JB Cloud coming in at 10 o'clock, bringing some tunes. And, of course, Greg Austin with the Texas two-step and a lot of great music this afternoon. And, again, don't forget Red Dirt Proud. Go out and vote. But, again, thank you for listening. We always appreciate you. Again, hope you have a great week. And we'll see you next week with more Hodge Pack, sports life, and everything in between. Thank you all. Peace.
Make sure that we didn't do it through the week or the year, and we should have every week.
Yeah, that was a
And
great
say
show.
who won the week before.
Yes.
That's what we'll do.
Because I actually did have a couple different people on independent.
All right.
A couple people on independent conversations, not the same person or
Yeah.
within the